So summer's almost over, the kids are back in school, the holidays are right around the corner, and we have an upcoming presidential election. So how will all of these factors affect the Northern Virginia housing market for the rest of 2024? Well, in this week's video, I'll dive into exactly what I've been seeing in our housing market being boots on the ground, and then I'll share with you what I believe is the most likely scenario for the rest of 2024. So sit back, relax, because we're getting started right now. Boom! Hey everybody, it's David, your favorite realtor, and welcome back to another video. What to expect for the rest of 2024? Well, we're going to start off the video by looking at some of the biggest challenges the Northern Virginia housing market has faced this year. Because 2024 has hands down been the most challenging housing market I have ever seen, even more so than 2021. Which is when all this craziness started due to the demand for bigger homes because of the pandemic and historically low interest rates. So what are some of the main challenges? Well, first, we're sitting at all-time high record prices with the median sales price of a home in Northern Virginia in 2024 coming out to $695,000. Now, if we compare this number to last year, where the median sales price of a home was $642,000, so home prices in Northern Virginia are up 8.6% compared to last year. And I've always been extremely bullish on the housing market, but even I did not see home prices going up that high this year. Now, the next challenge is lack of new listings hitting the market. Now, this is a continuing trend from last year. We saw some of the lowest levels of new inventory since the mid-90s. And in reality, low inventory has been a major issue for our region, basically since the pandemic started. But I will say this, new listings that hit the market have actually been up this year compared to the past couple years, but they've only gone up very slightly. So new listings that hit the market this year from January to the end of July are actually up 5% compared to the same time frame last year. So unfortunately, a 5% increase in new listings really doesn't move the needle much, and it's definitely not enough to satisfy our demand. But I'll take any increase at this point, and hopefully this will be a continuing trend moving forward. Now let's compare new listings hitting the market this year compared to the last full year pre-pandemic, which is our last quote-unquote normal market back in 2019. So new listings hit the market this year are down 35% compared to the same time frame in 2019. And I would love to see 35% more listings hitting the market. Now that would definitely move the needle and help bring us back to a more balanced market where there's an equal amount of buyers and sellers. Now, our next challenge that the Northern Virginia housing market has faced this year has been higher mortgage interest rates, which have been hovering right around 7% the majority of the year. However, recently rates have been trending down. They bottomed out right around 6.4% on August 2nd, which happens to be my birthday, but right now they're right around 6.5%. Now, we're definitely nowhere near where rates were a few years ago, but at least we're going in the right direction. So high interest rates have had two major negative effects on our housing market. And the first negative effect is high mortgage interest rates have been the main cause of the low levels of inventory these past couple of years, and not just here in Northern Virginia, but the country as a whole. So buyers have 100% adjusted to the new norm of high rates, but sellers have not. Let me explain. So a lot of potential home sellers are experiencing something called mortgage rate lock-in effect. So basically what it means is a homeowner does not want to become a home seller because it's extremely hard to trade your 3% interest rate and turn around and buy a home at a 7% interest rate. So many potential home sellers are choosing not to list their home and stay right where they are, nice and comfy with the 3% rate. And all of this has been one of the major reasons why we have some of the lowest levels of inventory in recent memory. Now, the second way high interest rates negatively affect our housing market is it reduces buyers' purchasing power. So how much do higher interest rates affect buyers' purchasing power? Well, it's way more than you think. So let's see how much house $4,000 a month buys you. So if you're home shopping in January of 2021, that's when rates bottomed out at 2.76%. Well, that $4,000 a month would have bought you a $1,085,000 house. Now, fast forward a year to February 2022, that's when rates hit over 4%. Well, that $4,000 a month would buy you a $925,000 house. And then just a few short months later in May of 2022, that's when rates hit 5.5%. That $4,000 a month buys you a $780,000 house. Now the current month of August 2024, the rates are 6.5% right now, and that $4,000 a month buys you a $700,000 house. Now there is a massive difference between a $1,085,000 house and a $700,000 house. That's literally the difference between a townhouse or a really nice single family home. So higher mortgage rates have crippled home affordability and has caused historically low levels of new listings hitting the market. Now, as much as I love making YouTube videos about living right here in Northern Virginia, what I love even more is helping folks just like you relocate to the area. So if you're even thinking about moving to Northern Virginia, reach out to me, give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email. Just know I got your back when you move into Northern Virginia. So what have I personally seen being in the trenches in our housing market? Well, back in the peak of the hot spring market, I had a client in a 3-week period lose against 7 offers, 11 offers, 17 offers, and 25 offers. It is extremely hard to beat out 25 offers. And if you happen to beat out 25 offers, are you really the winner? Because you're gonna be drastically overpaying for that house. I've also seen a crazy amount of offers on all different style of homes all over Northern Virginia and at every price range. I've seen homes routinely sell for $100,000 above asking price, and without question, the craziest thing I've seen this year was a house in McLean, which actually personally showed, by the way. Well, that McLean home sold for $460,000 above asking price. That is insane. Also, in multiple offer scenarios, buyers are routinely waiving their home inspection and appraisal contingencies, and not just to guarantee a win, just to be competitive with all the other buyers. So to put all that into context, pre-pandemic, it was unheard of for homes to sell for $100,000 above asking price or to waive your contingencies. Now, homes back then still got multiple offers, but you could easily win a multiple offer scenario by going $5 grand, $10 grand, maybe $20,000 max above asking price, all while keeping your contingencies in place. But now the crazy spring market is over, as we are currently towards the end of summer, and this is when we start the normal seasonal slowdown. And like clockwork, this happens every year right around this time. So why does the market slow down this time of year? Well, people want to get their last summer vacations in, kiddos are back in school, holidays are right around the corner, and this year we have an upcoming presidential election. So all of these factors naturally slow down the housing market. Now, what do I mean by a slowdown? Basically less everything. Less new listings, less new sales, less competition, and less demand. Let me share with you an example. Let's say back in April, which is the peak of the spring market, a beautiful updated single family home that's priced correctly in a highly desirable neighborhood would easily get 8, 9, 10 offers, sell for $50, $60, $70, even $100,000 above asking price. But right now, August, September, October, November, that exact same house will still be competitive, but it only may get 2, 3, 4 offers and maybe only sell for $30,000 above asking price. So A-plus properties that are priced correctly will still be competitive this time of year, but way less competitive compared to the hot spring market. Let me share with you some stats. In the past 15 days in Fairfax and Loudoun County, 45% of all those homes sold above asking price. Now let's compare that to April this year, which is kind of the peak of the spring market. Well, in the month of April in Fairfax and Loudoun County, 85% of all those homes sold above asking price. So we went from 85% of all homes selling above asking price, now down to currently only 45% of all homes are selling above asking price. Now that is a massive difference. So this time of year, it's way easier to find more diamonds in the rough and just get great value overall. So how will the upcoming election affect the housing market? So historically, presidential elections have had very little impact on the housing market, but here's what typically happens. First, home sales tend to slow down in October and November, but activity usually picks back up in December. Secondly, home prices tend to increase the year after an election. And third, mortgage rates tend to drop between July and November of an election year, which is something we're actually already experienced because we had a huge interest rate drop at the end of July, early August timeframe. So yeah, the election will have a very small and temporary effect in our housing market, but for most buyers and sellers, it definitely should not affect your plans. Unless you happen to work for the current administration and they end up losing, then the election may affect your real estate plans. So what should we expect our Northern Virginia housing market to look like for the rest of 2024? Let's start off with mortgage rates. So last year, I predicted rates would hit the mid-5s this year. Now I highly doubt that's gonna happen, but I definitely can see the low 6s as a realistic number. Especially that the Federal Reserve is now indicating a rate cut in September, and some experts are predicting that a total of 3 rate cuts by the end of the year is a strong possibility. Now let's look at housing supply and demand. So we will still have low levels of inventory for the rest of the year, but at the same time, buyer demand will soften as well. So a lot of homes will not be competitive, especially way less compared to the spring market. So it's gonna be way easier to secure a home at a much better price and terms. So for the rest of 2024, we have an upcoming election, potential rate drops, kiddos back in school, holidays are right around the corner, plus our normal seasonal slowdown. We'll make this the best time of year without question to buy a home. Because right on cue, right after the holidays in January, buyer demand skyrockets. So basically any home with 4 walls and a roof will get multiple offers. So this is what I believe is the most likely scenario for the rest of the year. Now I know what you're thinking, oh, typical realtor, always saying it's a great time to buy. Well, I've been very consistent in the 4.5 years that I've been making YouTube videos. I've hardly ever said that it's a good time to buy. And really the only exception to that is, I have said plenty of times that the 4th quarters of the year are typically the best time to buy a home. I practice what I preach. I bought my personal home in Ashburn in the 4th quarter of 2021. But if I see any changes to the housing market, you know I'm gonna drop a brand new video to keep you updated every step of the way. If you wanna learn more about living right here in Northern Virginia, check out these videos right here. They're gonna be great ways to continue your research, and I'll see you in the next video.